I had a question in the email. It was a comment on a video I did a long time ago, or at least a year ago. It's got like something like 20,000 views on it. But I was comparing a 30-30 to a 32 Winchester Special. And now he was just asking for tips about buying a vintage lever gun. No, not a new one, but a vintage one, which is really the way to go. If you can find one and at a reasonable price. Because I very seldom see anything under about like $700. You know, this is a pre-64 Winchester. And that's one thing you want to look for in the Winchesters is get something pre-64, because after that they started coming with some kind of strange alloy on the receiver, and like the lifter inside is stamped. You know, the older ones are a better gun. I've always thought one of the most practical guns is a 94 in 30-30. Myself, I would prefer, you know, it had another 6 inches of barrel on it and more capacity, but you don't often run into them. You know, I look, but they're, you know, the prices on that stuff can just astound you. On old lever guns is just amazing. But these were very popular for a long time. And even, you know, after 64, they were still popular, but it isn't the gun that they still work. It's just that they're not as nice as what the old ones are. So I would look for an old one. But your choices in old lever guns is a little limited. You know, like there's the old Henrys, the true Henrys, that sort of thing. But you aren't going to find one of them, especially at something you could afford to pay. And for convenience, you kind of want to stay away from something that only shoots black powder, which some of the old lever guns only do. You know, 94 was smokeless. So this is a good choice. And I always thought, like in a 30-30, a Winchester 94 is probably your most practical gun to own. If you only have one gun, this will do a lot. But your other option, you know, there's a Savage, which is a really nice gun, but you're looking, you know, I see them go around $1,000. But they're a nice gun. The only drawback for me is they don't have a hammer, and I really prefer the hammer. But they're a really nice gun, and someday I might buy one, because they're very well made, really a beautiful gun. They just lack that hammer that I like so much. You know, it's just a matter of convenience and safety. But when I say about I like a longer gun, okay, now the balance point on the 94 is here on the metal of the receiver when you're carrying it. Now, on my Marlin, the balance point is up on the wood, on the handguard, and I like that better. You know, I really like the full-length rifle. And that's your other option is Marlins, but there on the Marlins, you know, like on Winchesters, you want to be before 64. On Marlins, you want to be before Remington took over. You want to find that right on the barrel, it's stamped JM. That's what you want to see. You know, I know I get into trouble because people really like, or some people are just really fond of their Marlins, the new ones, but it's a matter of if you haven't had an old one, then you think the new ones are cool, but it isn't the same gun. Though I'm hoping, you know, some are being made in New York, but then I think some of the production moved down to like Kentucky or something. So I'm keeping my eyes open, hoping that maybe they'll come back and be a decent gun at some time. But the Marlin is what I really like. It's a simpler gun. You know, just much easier to take it apart. You just take the screw out, the bolt, everything comes. Winchester, it's a little more of a job. But I'm shooting a 45-70. This would be a great gun in a 30-30 or a 32 Special. But there's a limited amount of these cowboys out there with the high capacity and the octagonal barrel. You know, this is exactly what I want. To me, this is the perfect gun. And I do like 4570. You know, straight case, easy to reload. So it's a heck of a good sized bullet. But between the two is what I would be looking at, between an older Winchester or an older Marlin. And that's what it comes down to is, you know, new guns are a whole different deal.